Welcome to a new edition of WIN-TV, Washington Informer News. I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer. And for those of you all who are in the district last night or in the DMV, I really hope that you got through it without too much trouble. I know there were trees falling, flooding everywhere. We've got one in our basement, as a matter of fact. Flooding everywhere, a lot of things happening in the city, but I hope that you made it through safely, and I'm glad that you could take some time to join us on the air. We have a very exciting show, a lot of guests this week, today, and I wanted to just start off, as I always do, showing you this week's issue of the Washington Informer. Can you see it? And so we're going to be talking to Stacey Brown, one of our star reporters here and national reporters who actually did the story on the Honorable John Lewis, who we lost a week ago today, but in a little while. So we'll talk to him and sort of get an update on the services that will be held for him in a couple of weeks. I just want to remind you all, and I know that you've been paying attention, but the mayor of the District of Columbia, as you know, has finally done what so many other jurisdictions are now beginning to do. I mean, she's really been on the forefront of this issue of the virus and trying to keep us safe in the District of Columbia. So this week, she issued an order requiring all of us to wear masks. And the mask should be worn indoors in common areas. If you live in an apartment building or condominium or cooperative, the mayor asked that you wear your mask then, as well as in office buildings. We will be posting a sign on our door. Actually, it just got posted, letting folks know as they enter into the office, they must have on their mask. And then if you leave your residence, the mayor has required that a mask must be worn if you are likely to come in contact with another person, such as one being within 6 feet of another person, or more than a fleeting time. I know we pass people and what have you, but if you're going to be engaged with folks for any period of time, the mayor wants you to wear a mask. And it just makes sense when you walk out the door to put your mask on. This is the new normal for us right now. And hopefully it will mean that we will get close to the end of this pandemic. I can't say what your president has said, and that one day it's just going to disappear. I wish. But no one has that magic wand, and it's not going to go away unless we all exercise safety. So having said that, I also want you to know that we will be talking in the future about what's happening in the district with regards to testing. There are lots of places where you can get tested, and I'm just going to share this with you. You can call this number, 855-363-0333. That's 855-363-0333, or visit needaTest.com. And that's for free coronavirus testing. I know that some of the facilities, due to the heat this week, were closed. I know the one down the street from us on Martin Luther King Avenue was closed. But there are places now where you can get testing. And don't forget to stop by Safeway's vaccination station for flu, hepatitis, meningitis, HPV, pneumonia, and more vaccinations. All of that is going to be available to you at Safeway's vaccination station, so you can contact them as well. Having said that, and the bottom line is, people, stay safe. That's what we want you to do, to stay safe. And at some point, we will be doing some more work with the Black Coalition Against COVID and do some tributes to some of the individuals that we've lost in our community to this virus. So now we're going to turn to one of the parts of the show that I enjoy the most, is when we sit down and have a conversation with our own reporters. And Stacey Brown, who is the senior national correspondent for the National Newspaper Publishers Association, also with the Washington Informer. Glad to have you on with us. Stacey, how are you?
Good, Denise. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. It's been a busy week and a sad week, actually, because We've lost two tremendous civil rights heroes, and this has been a year of loss. I mean, when we think of some of the
Oh, yeah.
others that we've lost this year, and I know that you actually did our cover story on Congressman John Lewis, who we were so honored to have actually had a book signing and a conversation with him back in 2015. Stacey, give us some memories, give us some experiences and some thoughts that you had with Congressman Lewis.
Well, first of all, I was going to say, I was noticing all of the great pictures and the memories that the informant had posted. I know he did some things with you, and I think that's my echo, and I apologize. But, I had a chance to see him on a few occasions, and it was almost like, see, if you're a big, say, music fan and you're a Beyonce fan, and you see Beyonce, you meet Beyonce, I would imagine that it would be the same if you had met John Lewis.
I
And
called
not
him a rock
because,
star.
yeah,
He
yeah,
was a rock
and not
star.
because he was by any means did he portray himself as that.
Right.
Um, when you think about all of the Congress people that have come, that are there now, that have come before him and during his time, Maxine Waters talked about her 30 years with him. But you cannot find a more humble individual in that role, especially being so revered. So one of the striking things about him is that if you shared the room with him, he gave you your space. You worried about giving him his space. He gave you your space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I remember one of the last times I saw him actually was back in January. I mean, I'm sorry, December. He and Michael, that worked for him, made his way over to the Shiloh Baptist Church for Juanita Britton's Black Gift Show, or I should say, holiday gift show. And folks would, they're shopping up a storm, buying items, and all of a sudden they look to the right, and there he was. And for I think the entire time, people were stopping to take pictures with him, and he loved it. He loved people. He loved
Yeah.
people.
Well, one of the lasting memories will be his dancing.
Yes,
I've seen
yes,
those videos,
yeah,
but it was the epitome of John Lewis because there was no putting on airs.
right.
He if the mood struck, if it was the right thing to do, you can count on him. As he said, getting in good trouble.
No question. So he will be laid, help me with the word, in state at the U.S. Capitol next Tuesday.
Monday,
Monday? Can you
Monday,
give us some details on
1:30.
that?
Yeah, Monday at 1:30. It's going to be quite a week starting Monday because his body will be taken from the Capitol. They will take him to Alabama. We will indeed go back. They will take him back to the Pettus Bridge, which is going to be pretty amazing. Um, Troy, Alabama, Selma, and Montgomery. Uh, they will have viewings in all of those places. Now, what's interesting about it too is his family is requesting that anybody who attends these viewings that they have mass. He respected. You mentioned the president at the top of this, but John Lewis really, really respected the boundaries that COVID-19 presented, and was really a champion of being safe. And
Mm-hmm.
so the family is carrying that out by whether it's indoor, because they're going to have indoor and outdoor services for him.
Right.
And so they are requesting that whether it's indoor or outdoor, they want everyone to be safe, honor him that way by wearing a mask. He's going to be, the funeral will be at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta on Thursday. I believe, and we have to double check this, but the time will be 2 p.m. Eastern time. But again, that's something that can change and should be checked before you count on that particular time. But he will be, the funeral will be there, and I'm told that he will be buried next to his wife.
Wow, who he lost just a couple of years ago, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Stacey, I thank you so much, and we didn't get to did not get to talk about Reverend Vivian, CT Vivian, and of course Dr. Lowry. But I think as we go down the road and really reflect on some of their messages, especially as it relates to this upcoming election and the issues confronting Black America, particularly. We're going to pull some of those quotes and remember all of the folks that we've lost this year. Thank you so much for being with us.
It's a privilege.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
All righty. So we're going to stop for a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with you in just a minute.
Complete the 2020 U.S. Census. It is safe and secure. It benefits your city, your community, and your family. Complete it online, over the phone, or once you receive it in the mail. You matter. Get counted. 2020 census.gov.
Speaking of leaders, and leaders that started early, I know that John Lewis met Martin Luther King at the age of 16. We're getting ready to bring on a young leader who started his path towards leadership and is now the Ward 8 council member for the council member of the District of Columbia for Ward 8, and that's Councilmember Trayon White. Councilmember White, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. We left the T off your name, but we apologize for that, and hopefully we'll get that fixed. But anyway, first of all, any reflections did you have on John Lewis? Did you ever get a chance to meet him?
Yes, actually I did. It was around the time where Trayvon Martin was killed. They had a hearing on the Hill, and I was joined there with a couple of my friends to shock us, some of the young men in the community I mentored. And I have a picture, actually, when he passed. I posted that picture on my social media, me, him, and a young man named Timothy Dawkins, who also passed, who was a victim of gun violence here in D.C.
Was there anything about his life that inspired you?
Consistency. I think that he started his work in the community on the civil rights, during the civil rights movement. And we talking about now in 2020, he was still fighting against the social inequalities and for social justice, using this platform as a congressman, unafraid, unapologetic about fighting for people, and most specifically Black people. And so I always saw that in him. He was in a couple of movies too, so I followed his career. So consistency, just staying at it, because you can't conquer anything that you're not committed to.
Exactly. Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to you for winning the primary. It's a very interesting race, but you pulled it through, which shows that consistency does work, and it evidently applies to you in your life. And I also want to thank you for your support for local media this week in your vote for or against the ad tax that would have impacted all of us. So I think we need to let the public know that you were what we would consider on the right side of that issue, as you are on so many issues. So thank you for that.
No problem.
But this has been a tough year for everybody, but particularly for the ward. And I know that you're right in the midst of it. We've dealt with the issue of COVID-19. I think you lost your grandmother.
Yes.
To COVID, and so let's talk a little bit about that, because Ward 8 and east of the river have really been considered not necessarily the ground zero for those who have gotten the disease, but it has been for those who have died from the disease. What have you been doing, or how have you all been able to address that?
First, I want to send my love and condolences to those who have been affected by the COVID-19 virus here in D.C. and across the world. Because, when the virus first was here, I guess in China, the notion was Black people can't catch it, young people can't catch it, males can't catch it, and then we found out that those narratives are truly not true. And so one of the things we've done is ramped up our testing sites, because I don't know if you remember, but at first the numbers were high all across the city, but in Ward 8 we only had 48.
Right.
And they asked me, actually Sam Ford asked me about that in an interview, and I said it's only because people haven't got tested yet. And because we have a lot of pre-existing conditions with the health disparities here in Ward 8, Ward 7, Ward 5, other parts of the city, I knew that we'll be hit hard. I didn't know like we have been to that magnitude, but I knew that it was something that was missing. And so when we did put a location at United Medical Center, we moved one to the fire station, a testing site on Atlantic Street, also one on MLK by the big chair. And we just been trying to utilize the government resource to cushion the blow because there still haven't been a solution. And we've seen spikes arise again in the last couple of days. We also working with United Medical Center today because the patients there are going through some turmoil with the heat and the outages as well. So it's been a constant battle each and every day here in the ward.
It sounds like it. And then, of course, all across the country, thank God we're not Chicago, but we've seen an uptick in violence across the country, particularly in communities like ours. And while you've been in the midst of trying to work against that, what do you see as the problem, and how do you think not only your office but the whole community can help to address what's happening?
Thank you. We've seen a few homicides in the last week that's been tragic, partly because they were young people. We had the young lady Joy, the young boy, 11 years old, Davon, Antoine, who was killed on MLK in Parkchester. Just a number of shootings. We had one yesterday. And so I think there's a direct correlation in the city between poverty and violence. And I think that there's some underlying things we haven't addressed in this city that's really fundamental. One is education. The gap for Black and African-American boys in Washington, D.C. has been widening at least for the last 7 years. We talk about in Ward 8 has the highest concentration of youth. Anywhere in D.C. has lost over 10 recreation centers in the last 10 years. And I talk about it a lot, from Hot Rec, Oil Rec, Ketchum Rec, Anacostia Rec, Blue Rec, number 11 Boys and Girls Club. And so what we've been doing is trying to figure out what has worked, looking at other things that should work, and trying to put some things in place. But we got to be mindful that resources for violence intervention has been missing for at least 7 years in D.C. You was around when, we had a lot of organizations from Eastern River working with Reverend Isaac, the Peaceaholics, Alliance of the Concerned Men, Ceasefire Don't Smoke, the Brothers and Sisters. And for the last 7-8 years, all these organizations have been dormant and resources have been removed. And we wonder why the crime is high and why we had 36 kids shot east of Anacostia River last year. And kids killed. We had a 2-year-old, was it a 2-year-old girl, a 3-year-old girl, and her mother shot two nights ago uptown.
Yeah.
And so it's been really real for a lot of different people. And so we have been trying to cushion the blow with a Band-Aid. And so when I first got in office, it was $0 put towards violence prevention, and to look at violence as a health approach to deal with the mental health that's prevalent in our community through trauma, and to deal with the substance abuse that's been prevalent in our community. And just to break down to the Black family, we've never fully recovered from the crack epidemic that crippled Washington, D.C. And you see a lot of single-parent households. You see a lot of people and individuals that haven't gotten a high school diploma with a high dropout rate. We see that we had, prevalent schools that was flourishing, like trade schools that we no longer have in D.C., like Chamberlain. Phelps used to be one. And so we haven't done a good job of preparing people for careers. And it's Washington, D.C. We have a plethora of jobs and careers in this area, but we haven't done a good job of preparing people for those jobs. And so we opened up the Infrastructure Academy here in Ward 8.
Right.
We opened up, she helped support the Hope Project, which was an IT training program here in Ward 8, and other programs like that in the city.
So we're just about out of time, but I know that you have been supportive of the violence interrupters and the work that they're doing. And, is there anything that you would like to call on the community to do in the last few minutes of this show, of this segment, to support your efforts?
I think that people are too calm. And because it don't affect everyone at one time directly, it affects us all indirectly in one form or fashion or another. And I think that the community has to get outraged. We have to take the streets back, because peace starts for self. And just because it wasn't your child that time, it could be your child the next time. And, somehow we become complacent as a community and just accepted the status quo that this is Southeast is going to be shootings or Southwest is going to be shootings. But this is somebody's nephew, this is somebody's grandson, somebody's granddaughter. And we all are part of the same community. So until we become outraged and galvanize Dr. King said unity or non-existence. We have no other option. Unity or not, we got to unify now. The population in Washington, D.C. for African Americans have been shrinking from 78% to almost 48%. And the census is this year, so make sure you go take the census, but we may find that that number is even lower. So the population is shrinking.
Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I want you to know you can always call on the Washington Informer News for a platform. If you've got a message you want to get out to the community, we want to be a partner with you in making sure that this community becomes one that we see as a great place and safe place to live. And I see you and your newest addition to your family, your baby girl,
Yes.
on Facebook. And so give her a big hug for us. And
Yes.
Your son as well, and have a great weekend.
You too. Keep up the good fight.
All right. Thanks a lot. Councilmember Trayon White, yes, one of the younger members on the city council, but one that comes with a lot of age and vision and maturity, but particularly vision. So I'm really glad that he was able to join us for this segment. Right now, we're going to have a little video introduction because we got a whole crew of folks about to join us for a program called Here to Help DC. And it takes more than one person to help. And so we're going to go to this video and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back. Willie Phillips, Ted Trevue, Sandra Medava. I always get it wrong. Can I just say Sandra?
Yes, you can,
With the Public Service Commission, yes, and Dr. Teresa Lawrence. Welcome all of you all to the show. I mean, we're coming through COVID-19, and sometimes I'm sure folks are sitting at home thinking, how am I going to get through this? And that video, I mean, is so comforting to know that there's a team of folks in the District of Columbia that are going to help people, not only through just the day-to-day as it relates to getting utility bills paid and other things going on, but also those bandits out there that are trying to take advantage of us. And we never know it until we actually click on the wrong thing or say the wrong thing on the telephone or whatever or return the wrong envelope, whatever it might be. So I'm going to start. Who do I start with? Sandra, is it you or Willie? Okay, Willie. Thank you.
I believe it was Chairman Phil more than we start.
Go ahead, Mr. Phillips. Can we hear you? Okay.
I can hear you. Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you
All
for
right.
having us.
Sure. So, I mean, you all, tell us about, now you're with the, you're chair of the Public Service Commission?
That's right.
And what is this initiative? What is this Here to Help DC all about?
Well, Here to Help DC is a coalition of district agencies that came together, really focused on helping consumers, businesses, as well as residents in the district. In the wake of COVID-19, under the leadership of the mayor and the council, they initiated some moratoriums that impacted utility service. Like you can't have disconnections, you can't have late fees during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we all got together, we reached out to each other and decided to come together and unite our forces to get the message out on ways that we can help folks save energy as well as tips on how to save money.
Interesting. And so I know people are worried. I mean, on the one hand, they want the pandemic to end, but when it does, what's going to happen with all the money that they thought that they didn't have to pay? Will their utilities get cut off? Will they be thrown out of their apartments? Will they lose their homes? How are you all handling that? Is Ted, you want to talk about that? Okay, I'm getting instructions over here over which way I'm supposed to be going. It's like a puzzle piece, right? All right. So, Ms. Madigo Fry, could you tell us how this is working?
Good. Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. And thank you, Denise, for hosting this forum.
Sure.
The informer and you've always been at the forefront of utility issues and environmental issues. Again, I'm Sandra Madigo Fry, the People's Council, and OPC is an independent agency of the District of Columbia government. And what we do is, in our sole responsibility, is to advocate and protect DC utility consumers. I am really, really, really proud to be part of this initiative because for me, it represents the very best in government. As Chairman Phillips said, we came together as a group and we were able to, put together our various expertise as well as resources to go out and really talk to people and educate them and inform them on what's available, and how they can, navigate through this, unprecedented and challenging pandemic. Not only are there health issues, but there are economic issues. The unemployment rates in all of the wards are much higher than they were last year. And in some wards, they are soaring, ranging from anywhere from 7 to 18%. So this is like a real issue for all of us. And what OPC did specifically, we were, proactive. We reached out to the utility officials early on in March. I believe we sent letters on March 10th. And we also reached out to the council and worked with them in proposing legislation or drafting legislation that was specifically designed to address and ensure that there was uninterrupted service for uninterrupted utility services. We didn't want, in the midst of this pandemic, for people to be worried that they wouldn't have gas, electric, or telephone service. And I might say that the utilities were receptive and responsive and participated, and the council really took an active role. And I might add that, I am in contact with other jurisdictions, and the legislation passed in the District of Columbia is probably one of the most, aggressive and comprehensive legislation across the country. Some of the things that we've done through the legislation is prohibiting disconnections, instituting reconnections where some customer services were disconnected prior to the pandemic. Also, payment plans, making certain that that payment plans would be enacted, that the companies could not charge or require a lump sum payment. And Denise, you asked, what's going to happen afterwards? Well, that is a real issue. And one of the things, I've been on a number of programs, including yours, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
And what we are, the first thing that I encourage people to do is to pay what you can. You can't always pay everything, but make an effort so that there is a dialogue. When you go back for a payment plan, you can say, well, I have made an earnest effort. I also believe that we know this is not going to go away. So I think that it would be important for us to continue this type of an initiative, even in the form of a task force that would include, various stakeholders, similar to the DC Plug initiative that was enacted years ago, where you had this kind of public-private partnership that we're going to deal with and address these issues, as you say, once the moratoriums are lifted, once, hopefully the pandemic goes away.
So I want to get Ted Trabue and Dr. Teresa Lawrence in here as well. Ted, you're with the DC Sustainable Energy Utility, DCSEU. And what role are you all playing in this initiative?
Denise, thanks again for having us on this afternoon. Specifically, the DCSEU's role is to help our residential and business customers reduce their energy consumption in their homes or in their businesses. So we have 4 initiatives that we are running currently to help our residents reduce the amount of energy they're using and therefore save on their energy bills. I think Sergeant Madrigal makes a good point about pay what you can, but we want to help you reduce those bills over the long haul. The first initiative is our Solar for All initiative, which installs a solar system on your house free of charge to income qualified residents. These systems can reduce your electric bill by 40 to 60%.
I want to say that I know people who've installed the solar units, and they are celebrating the reduced cost in their.
We've been running
bills.
this program in conjunction with Dr. Lawrence and the Department of Energy and Environment since 2012, and we average about 100 homes a year. Last year, we started a community solar program so that even if your roof isn't suitable for solar, we can get you credits on your bill for some of the larger systems that we're installing throughout the city. And so last year, we helped over 2,000 residents reduce their energy bills on their homes, even without having to directly put a solar system on their home. That's one thing that we're running. The second thing is we're distributing about 1,000 energy kits this year that would have LEDs, light emitting diode, high efficient light bulbs in them, power strips, other efficiency measures for the home. I'll tell you how to get those in a moment. For our small businesses, and we're very concerned about them and how they will reopen as this pandemic winds down. We're doing walkthroughs for our smaller businesses here in the city. We're increasing the amount of rebates that we can offer for energy efficiency measures that would be installed in those businesses, because we really want to help them in this recovery as well. Our residents and our businesses have been impacted, so we want to reach all of those constituencies. But you can call us the old-fashioned way on 202-479-2222. We'd be happy to have someone live get on the phone with you, talk about your efficiency needs in your home or your business so that you can reduce your energy consumption and reduce your bill.
And thank you. And Dr. Lawrence, I know that you're with LIHEAP, and a lot of folks have really depended upon LIHEAP over the years, but where you all provide payments, assistance to get some of those partial payments or whatever that Dr. Madrigal-Fry talked about. So how can people depend on you, rely on you?
Yes, that's exactly right. I'm very pleased to be here today with the Department of Energy and Environment. And LIHEAP has been one of our flagship programs for many decades. And that's the program wherein folks can come to us. And of course, now in a remote setting, they can call 311, or they can go online and submit an online application. Or just call us, like Ted was saying, just call us and then we'll put them in touch with the relevant program managers. But one of the highlights, LIHEAP offers between $250 and $1,800 as part of the regular benefit payment each year, but as part of the regular emergency payment, which we give when folks have been disconnected from utility service. And as everyone has said, disconnections are not allowed at this time. Usually we have to show proof of disconnection to get a benefit of up to $600. But as part of the response to the COVID pandemic and the public health emergency, all you need to do now is show that you have an arrearage that exceeds $250, since we know there are no disconnections happening, and you can qualify that way for the emergency benefit payment of up to $600, whatever will be required to satisfy that arrearage.
All of this is great news. And as Sandra, as you said in the beginning, I mean, that's what makes me a proud Washingtonian, because we always seem to be on the leading edge of what is right for consumers, particularly thanks to you all's leadership. We've kind of run out of time here, but are there any closing remarks that one of you would like to make?
If I could just say, there are resources that are available to consumers. We all echo what everyone says. The cheapest megawatt is the one you don't use. So conservation is the key. And also we have 2 two resources, Fight Utility Scams, as well as dcpowerconnect.com, that you can go to, and that can help you both protect yourself and find a way to save money.
Wonderful. I want to thank, oh, go ahead.
Denise?
Go ahead. Uh-huh. Yes.
I didn't get a chance to talk about our new division, our DC Water Division, and maybe one day we can have I can come on and share what we're doing there. But I do encourage our consumers to contact the office at 202-727-3071, and including issues related to water. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
We talked a little bit about it before, but I don't think we can talk enough about it. So I look forward to having you back on. Now that utility within itself has almost doubled or tripled is one of those bills that we have to pay. So that would be a great conversation. I look forward to bringing you back on to talk about that. And the rest of you all, as we go through this pandemic, I know that there are going to be issues that will arise. We'll be getting questions from some of our viewers, and we want to be able to reach out and make sure that we can be the link to help them to live comfortably as we go through this. So thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Chairman Phillips, for your leadership on this.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All righty.
Yes, thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
You know, we talk a lot about the serious stuff, but we also have to talk, oh, Ted, you're back. Talk about the things that make life pleasurable. And I am really excited to have Sadeka Nzinga with us, who is a mixed media artist, who's going to give us some information about an exhibit, actually, that's going to take place. I think it's been launched already at the Anacostia Arts Center in Ward 8. And it's a program that will look at its artists from around the country. They're artists who are going to focus on art that talks about COVID-19 and some other issues.
Complete the 2020 U.S. Census. It is safe and secure. It benefits your city, your community, and your family. Complete it online, over the phone, or once you receive it in the mail. You matter. Get counted. 2020 census.gov.
Well, I know she's here, but if we can get her up, we can't see you, and hopefully, Sadeka, can you cut on your camera so we can see you, or are you hiding from us?
Oh, can you guys see me?
No, we can't see you. We can't see you.
Let's see, my camera is
No,
on.
we can't see you. Yeah. So while we try to figure that out, I just want to share with you all this upcoming event that I think is really going to be fantastic. It's called the Colored Section. And James Terrell and Sadeka Nzinga are two of the featured artists. This is going to take place over at the Anacostia Arts Center, which is here in Ward 8 on Alabama Avenue. And at 1231 Alabama, Good Hope Road. I'm getting the streets all wrong. 1231 Good Hope Road. There you are. Glad to see you.
Hi.
And so Black Artists Open Show with work addressing quarantine and social unrest of 2020. Welcome to WIN-TV. Yeah, and that's beautiful. Your art is just fantastic. So tell us about the origins, where the idea came from for this exhibit.
Well, my husband and I, this is our third duo show together.
Okay.
And typically both of our focus is in African-American portraiture. And, you know, we're both abstract artists, but the shutdown has really given us an opportunity to reflect, and the social unrest has really given us an opportunity to reflect and create art that is reflective of what people are feeling and what people are experiencing right now. We definitely approach things from a level of empowerment, though. This is not a show that you're going to come and see things that are going to make you sad or things that are making you going to feel bad. You're going to see moments of people spending time together and, you know, being in the house. I have several pieces that are just people in the house together. He has a couple of pieces exploring the mental health aspects of what it is to be in quarantine and in isolation and how that kind of plays with your mind.
Describe your art and your husband's art. I mean, what forms do you use? Is it painting? What? And I know we're going to see some in a little bit, but I can't wait to see it. But describe, I mean, your background and how you got into this creative space.
Well, my husband is an acrylic painter. And so he does a lot of work with acrylic and with Sharpie markers. So he draws these really incredible and really intricate pieces out and then paints them within these acrylic lines. It's beautiful to watch. It's like watching somebody write in calligraphy, how precise he is with his movements. And I consider myself a mixed media artist. I do mostly collage right now, like a lot of collage and acrylic work, but I make jewelry, I make clothes, I do all kinds of things. And now all of that is starting to kind of come out in my pieces. So both of us do work that's on canvas. This show, all of the canvases are unstretched. Usually we stretch and frame the canvases when we have shows, but a lot of these pieces are really big and have a lot of movement to them. And so we wanted to let them be free and let them breathe and let people really experience the rawness of the work. Both of us have been artists forever. I know that he went to school for art, so he has a degree in painting from Howard. He has a degree in painting from Parsons. I am self-trained, and so I have been painting since I was in elementary school. I always tell people I was coloring and selling earrings to kids when I was in second grade.
All right. So, I mean, I think I was taken by this when I saw that it was going to be a show at the Anacostia Arts Center, which means that the public will be able to come to see these pieces, right? It's not a virtual exhibit. So how is that going to work?
Well, it is going to be both.
Okay.
So what we originally did is tonight and tomorrow are the opening receptions. It's sold out now. You could get a timed ticket. And it was a limit of how many people were going to be able to come and see it at a time to avoid a big crowd. Masks are required and your temperature was taken as you come in. We just got word from the gallery that both nights are sold out.
Oh, fantastic.
Amazing.
Folks want to get out of the house.
Yes. But I want to urge people, if you don't have a ticket, please don't flood the gallery because it's not safe for there to be a big crowd. As much as that is our dream a couple of months ago was to have a big crowd, we don't want that. We wanted to get a ticket and go if you're going to go tonight or tomorrow. You can also see the exhibit during the Anacostia Arts Center's open hours. So you can go, they have a couple of businesses in there that are Black-owned businesses and small businesses. So you can go in and the work is distanced apart. So they're limiting the amount of people that are coming in and out. The couple of businesses that are open are doing mostly appointments. So you're not going to get there and it's going to be packed with a lot of people. We are going to have a virtual showing of it as well. And I'm really excited about that. That's hopefully going to be available at the end of next week. We were at the gallery on Wednesday doing some preliminary shooting for the virtual tour. And, as difficult as it is to try to have an art show during this era,
It's amazing. Yeah.
It's tough. But I am really excited about how the virtual tours have given us an opportunity to let people who are not local share. Be able to have an intimate look at the work where, before that wasn't really something that was happening.
So one thing you didn't say, and I'm sure that all of those folks that are coming are going to have to come with their masks.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Masks are required and temperature is taken at the door.
Wonderful. Okay. And the other thing, because we've got a few minutes left, and I wanted to run through a couple of the pieces that you shared with us and shared with our viewers. So we're going to put something up now and hope that you'll tell us what we're looking at.
So this is one of my favorite pieces in the show. It's called Breastfeeding Mother and Child. And so the whole portrait of both the mother and the child is all done in paper.
Wow.
And the hair is woven in Ankara African fabric. And so this is part of a series of pieces that I did where the women have these big, colorful woven afros. And so it's a pretty big piece and nobody had been able to see it. So I was really excited.
It's gorgeous.
This is a piece, excuse me, by my husband, James Terrell. And it is called The Couple, All Dressed Up with No Place to Go. And I love the pattern work that he did on this and just really thinking about, like, he drew this out in marker and painted all of these little pieces in. So it just watching it changed into something completely new as he was going through his process.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
This is one of my favorite pieces too. This is called When the Children Are Asleep. And this is one of my mixed media pieces that also explores what it's been like with the quarantine, kind of when you're at home and, you know, you're trying to find your vibe and be in the house and, you know, building a really beautiful space. This contains some like quilt work with Ankara fabric, and there's a series of pieces in the show as well that have that same theme of like the patchwork and the quilt work as a nod to our ancestors and the strength and beauty of their quilt work.
Sudega, these are beautiful, beautiful pieces, and I really congratulate you all on finding a way, one, to use this COVID opportunity to be creative, more creative, and to find a way to share it with the rest of us. And I wish you much success on this show. How long will it be there?
So the show is going to be up through August 28th.
Okay.
So you have plenty of time to go, plenty of time to see it and see it in person safely.
Okay. And are these pieces for sale?
And they are for sale, and there's a range of prices, and we encourage people, please come and buy it through the gallery, because especially as artists, when you purchase things through the galleries, it helps us, it helps our value, and it helps the galleries value us as artists.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much, and good luck, and have a great evening, and continue to make the world a beautiful place.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So this brings us to the end of this segment of WIN-TV. You know, starting a couple of weeks ago, we turned the program over to WI Bridge, and I'm going to bring on Claudia Watts, editor of WI Bridge. She should be with us in just a second. And I'm going to bid you all farewell. See you in a few.
Need some new leggings? Here at Leggings and More, we specialize in fashionable and quality leggings at affordable prices. We sell different types of women's leggings for all shapes and sizes. We have casual, fitness, or leggings for a night on the town. Everything you need. Visit our website, leggings-more.com, to check out our new arrivals.
Hi. Hello, everyone. And Jahi Warts.
Okay, we didn't hear a word you said. So no, I can hear you now, but we couldn't hear you then. So okay, all right. So I know the time is running, so I'm gonna bounce out and.
So we're going to be talking to the men of SoulMega Brewing Company today, and so that is Elliot Johnson and Jahi Warts, and so they're coming in now. Hey, Elliot. Hey, Jahi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I don't think I can hear you. Elliot, you're muted. Yep. Okay. So, guys.
I'm back. Okay. I'm hear me out.
Great. All right. Here we go. I feel like this is the second time I have to say this. Last week, I was like, oh, I don't know that much about finance. Well, I don't know that much about brewing beer. Okay. But I saw on Base DC that you are one of 5 Black-owned breweries in the DC area. And so that really struck me because it's so condensed to have so many Black breweries. But then I started doing a little more research, and I saw there is a sizable amount of breweries in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So for only 5 to be Black owned, it's actually not a lot. And I feel like that's probably indicative of the market in general. And, you know, you see Black ownership, you know, with like liquors and spirits, but I feel like the beer market is something that hasn't really been penetrated by diversity. And so I would love to just kind of hear about how you all got involved in the process, you know, some of those barriers to entry and like what it's really like to concept and then take something to market.
I'll let you kick it off, Elliot. You can talk that piece. I'll talk the beer side.
Okay, cool. Well, number one, thanks for having us. It's pretty cool. It's like my first time doing this broadcast. So yeah, you know, that's a good question. I do think that there being 5 is indicative of the market, considering that DMV is really like 3 different regions or whatever. For us, you know, we've been homebrewing for a while. Claudia, you know this, probably back to 2010 or 11. And so a lot of our stuff was, you know, trial and error. I think the one thing that we kind of had on our side was to leverage some of our network locally to gain support fairly quickly. But we talk about barriers of entry. I think any small business, especially in an industry where it costs a lot to start up that business, is going to face financial barriers of entry. I know, like, we tried to kick a Kickstarter campaign off at first. It wasn't very successful, but we didn't quit. Yeah, I would say that the regulation around alcohol and the cost of capital to start up is probably the 2 highest ones for people in the alcohol industry. I mean, it's not like shirts, right? You can't just like make a shirt and then start selling online. You got to get licensing, and you got to get a warehouse. You got to pay lease. You got to get insurance.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to build out cost. The cost it takes to actually have brew lines and all of that stuff set up is also expensive.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, just as a ballpark, if I wanted to start a beer company tomorrow, how much money, seed money, would I need to really kind of try to like corral?
Do you want to have your own facility?
I think so.
Probably 2 million.
2 million. Wow. So is that the path that you all took, or are you brewing in someone else's facility?
Correct. Yeah, we're using a market entry strategy called contract brewing. Some people call it gypsy brewing as well. Basically, we own our recipe and we partner with an existing brewery to make it on their facility.
Nice. Yeah.
And
so what is
we distribute our own product too.
You said what now?
We distribute our own product.
Okay. All right. And so with the beer, like, you own your recipe. What kind of went into that? How does one develop a recipe for beer, and how does one discern whether it's good or not?
Well, actually coming up with the beer, at least for me, you have to kind of have the ends in mind. So kind of want to have an idea of what it's going to taste like, what you want to bring to the consumer. And for Elliot and I, we want to do something different, right? So what we did was we did a hybrid type beer, one that has aspects of an American wheat, an American pale ale, and a bit of IPA in there. So you have a mix of American noble hop flavors, and it's just something unique. It's something we wanted to do as a start. You know, IPAs are very popular. We didn't want to enter in that frame. We wanted to do something different. So that's how we came up with the Worldwide. And overall, I mean, I think it's pretty well accepted. I mean, we've got a lot of good feedback. Again, like Elliot said, a lot of trial and error, but we got this recipe spot on based on the feedback we've been getting. We like to drink beer, and we like it too. So hey,
right? Yeah, I was going to say, like, you know, being expert connoisseurs in that realm, we have very distinctive flavor palettes. I also want to reiterate that, like, this isn't some type of like fly-by-night thing. So our commercial product available in the market right now is Worldwide, the one Jahi alluded to. It's our American Pale Ale, but we've been making iterations of that recipe for years, probably 7, maybe 6 or 7 years, and like, every time we made a batch, we tested in a small scale. Like, Claudia, I know you've helped us out with some of our events in the past. So just kind of doing it like that design thinking build, where you start small and you kind of build it like a model, then you test it, and if it works, you kind of scale up. If it doesn't, you make adjustments and stuff like that.
So it took about 7 years to get the recipe just right.
I would say it took about. Yeah, we made our first draft of it back on our homebrew kit. Commercially, you know, at that point, we've only been in business for about a year. So at that point, it's pretty spot on. But it took between like 2000 and 14 or so to 18 or 19 to
Yeah, it just shows you the perfectionist in us. So
Yeah,
we didn't want to stop until we got it right.
Yeah.
So now you also said that you all do your own distribution. And so what does that look like? I know that there's a side that involves being on tap in restaurants, and I know that there's a side that involves actual like consumer packaged goods. So where do you all fall? Or are you doing
That's on and off premise. So yeah, so for us, like we have the luxury of controlling the supply chain end to end internally. Where you may have some other people who manufacture their product and they hand it off to someone else to handle the sale and the logistical aspect of getting the product to a location. So for us, it's like, you know, sales rep role, you know, kind of door-to-door salesman type thing, delivery truck driver type role. Our license in DC, we are based in DC as a company. We can do bars, restaurants, you know, liquor stores, markets, delivery and pickup with the consumer.
Nice.
We got
Okay.
a pretty flexible license.
And so how do you source your product? Like how did you go like to site visits? I know when I was in college, I interned for McCormick Spices, and there's actually a man, it's his job to travel all over the world and like sample the best spices. So, I mean, you know, is that kind of like how you all source your product, or how does that work?
Well, you could help me out on this one, man. Not really, but I feel like as a brewer, that's something that you should aspire to do when you get a large production scale and like different styles. We chose raw ingredients we were familiar with already, so we didn't need to really do that. Like I used to, we drink a lot of beer, so when you drink enough beer, you kind of know what you need, and then this is a matter of just, you know, researching it and buying it online or whatever, or putting an order in with the supplier.
Nice. Okay. So I guess what would be the next kind of like phase? Like, do you all think that you'll do a brick and mortar? Are you going to move into owning your own facility? What is the next evolution of SoulMega?
Yeah, I definitely think we want to move into a tap room microbrewery situation eventually.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, thank you all so much for joining us. They are on tap in several restaurants, many of which are Black owned here in DC. You know,
we have time for shameless plugs.
Here you go. This is it.
Yes, we are available in 2 Black owned establishments in DC, Half Smoke on Florida and Georgia, and Mr. Braxton in Petworth. We're also available in Capital Fine Wine and Spirits Liquor Store on 8th Street, Cordial at the Wharf, Wardman Wines in Brookland, and Oasis Market in Noma.
Excellent. All right. So, yes. So please.
SoulMega.com. And we have a list of all of our accounts there.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you guys, this is wonderful. I look forward to seeing many great things from SoulMega. And thanks again.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having us.
Much appreciated.
Okay, so I think Denise is going to come back on. They're going to bring her in a second to close us out.
Great show, Claudia, and it was really great to hear from those young men and what they're doing with America's favorite beverage.
Right.
So I understand next week you all are, WI Bridge is taking over. You all are going to do a show takeover.
45 minutes
all
of
right.
my day. Are you excited?
So we look forward to your program. I know that you all have some great issues of the bridge coming up over the next 4 months. Mm-hmm. And I'm just really excited. You all are doing a great job. And I will sit back and just watch.
Thank you. We appreciate the platform.
All righty. All right. Well, take care. And this brings us to the end of another segment of WIN-TV. Thank you all so much for joining us. And we're going to now go to the end of our show where we bring in our photographs of the week. You all have a wonderful week. Stay safe. Continue to wear your mask. And we'll see you soon.